I've got this question. I have a Japanese wife. She teaches me Japanese, but I'm afraid of sounding a little feminine because I'm learning from a female learner. Well, it's not going to be the case always, but if you really want to know how to speak masculine, keep watching this video. Let's start off by changing your pronoun. Pronoun is I or you or he or she, right? And if you're an anime lover, you might know there are different ways of expressing this. Masculine way is ore. Let's say ore. Let's say this example. 俺は好き. I like. Since in Japanese you don't really say pronouns often, you would most likely say this word when someone says, I don't really like summer. But if you do like summer, you would say 俺は. For more detail, why there's wa, you can check out my wa particle video that describes this usage. Suppose someone's talking about you. You would say me, ore, me, simple, right? So we can change pronoun ore. But keep in mind, ore, you can only use that in a casual situation. If you're at an office and talking to your colleagues or your boss or anything, you would use boku from Boku no Hero Academia. So boku is formal, but it's less masculine. And in Japanese culture, masculinity is linked to arrogance sometimes. So this is why in formal situation, we use boku. So I use boku when talking on the camera or talking to someone who's older or in a higher status. But when I'm talking to friends, or family, I use this one. Now, how many people use this one? Well, I would say like 90% of the male population in Japan use this one as their default. You know, the casual, the authentic self use this one. So that's number one. Let's change the pronoun to ore. Second one is going to be daro. Desho is more feminine. Daro is more masculine. Now, how do you use these? Well, when you're talking about something, you kind of want to emphasize that you're right. Suppose you took someone to a restaurant and they're saying, oh, it's good. And since you already know the restaurant offers good food, you would say, desho. Desho, the feminine one, is more neutral and formal. So in a formal situation, you want to use the feminine one. But if you're taking out your girl, for example, you would say daro. So A, you're dating A. Oishii, she says. Good, delicious. And you say daro instead of desho. This is a very useful phrase. You can combine this to a sentence. Oishii daro. It's like, it's good, isn't it? But there's some connotation, nuance. It's like, I told you this is good. Told ya, this was good. Suppose you took a girl to on top of the mountain to see the stars. She says, kirei, pretty, beautiful. You two are looking at the stars. You can say, daro. Again, use this only in casual situation. Otherwise you sound arrogant. Next one, nante, is what? Huh? Now, don't use this one, huh? In Japanese culture. It sounds like you're angry, so you always wanna speak up something. Neutral, formal way is nan desu ka? What is it? Or like, pardon, right? Nan desu ka? But if you wanna sound casual and masculine, nani or nante. Nante. Instead of saying nante, you would say nante. Nante. It's like nante. It appears more confident. Instead of nante, nante. Nante? No, nante. That's number 3. Next one, if you want someone to stop doing something to you, tickling, I don't know. Yamero. Stop it. Stop it. Yamero. Let's say yamero. More feminine way is yamete. Yamete. So what's the difference between them? Well, it's not just what's more masculine and what's more feminine. This ro, te, if it ends with ro, it's kind of a command. You're like being imperative. You're giving orders to someone. So this way of speaking, you don't say that to your boss. No, because you're telling your boss to stop something. Any other example? Tabero, eat it. Whereas this one, please check out te form on the upper hand right corner. But this one is going to be making request. You're saying please stop instead of stop, right? Making requests, giving orders. That's the difference. And like I said, sounding masculine in Japanese language can appear arrogant. Yamero, tabero. Tabete is you're asking someone to do. You're asking someone to eat something. This imperative form, generally used by prison guards or police officers, or in a case of emergency. Prison guards would tell the prisoners, line up, narabe, instead of narande. Police officers would tell perps to not to move, ugoku na, freeze. Whereas here, ugokanai de, te form. So ugokanai de, ugoku na, freeze. Ugokanai de, be still. So maybe as a hairstylist, if the customer is moving a little, 動かないでください。動かないでください. In case of emergency, if there's a tsunami coming, everyone has to evacuate. Person would say, 逃げろ, run, escape. Whereas, 逃げて, 逃げて, please run, please run. You see the difference. And as you might guess correctly already, we use te form more than imperative form. やめろ, stop, stop. Now, this is the funny phrase, ふざけるな. It's like, don't fool with me. Don't mess with me. Again, this is another imperative one. The feminine or more making request one is going to be ふざけないで. Yes, although this is te form and still making requests, both of them can appear very angry if you say that in a serious tone. But if your friend is messing with you, you can just say ふざけるな, ふざけるな. People would say ふざけんな instead of ふざけるな. But this is how we say it correctly, okay? Instead of るな, we can say んな in a casual, more native way. But this is what it looks like, actually. It's like ふざけんな instead of ふざけるな. Get it? You hear this a lot in anime, actually. ふざけるな, ふざけんな, ふざけないで. Last but not least is going to be 頼む. Okay, that's masculine. お願い. Feminine. 頼む, literal meaning is I will depend on you. お願い means please. You see people doing like, 頼む頼む頼む頼む instead of お願いお願いお願い. I don't want to use this word because it sounds a little sexist, but this one is like, I'm counting on you. Whereas this one, お願い is like a little submissive. And since there's still the Japanese culture, femininity is associated with submissiveness and masculinity is associated with dominance. We still kind of, males tend to use this one and females tend to use this one. And it sounds more masculine because for that reason. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps you sound more masculine in Japanese. Now, since there's a lot of understanding towards LGBTQA these days, this masculinity and femininity thing is disappearing, which is good. Because in America, I heard the toxic masculinity is becoming a problem. We're more accepting towards gender equality, at least in language. So, san, honorific one. So whatever your name, Takeshi-san, Meari-san, James-san, can be first or surname, giving name or surname. It doesn't really matter. And this is gender neutral. You don't have to guess if it's Ms. or Mrs. or Mr. or whoever. So we don't have this problem, which is good. But Japan is not perfect. Political parties are still dominated by men and so on. But I hope it gets better soon. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.